Hello, good evening, everyone. Warm welcome to Business Live. Coming up in this edition, telecommunication companies to begin charging revised E-levy of 1% from tomorrow, January 11. Ahead, we will engage country coordinator of CATS International. Some banks are unhappy with current form of debt exchange program, describing it as a setback in gains made in the financial sector.
Having an agreement, orderly agreement to try and pay back what we owe over a period of time through a negotiation. So that's what is on the table. If we get some freebies here and there, thank God for it, and hopefully to mean that it will be less painful.
Meanwhile, International Monetary Fund lobbies private international creditors to join in cancellation of Ghana's debt.
It's a strategy to ensure that our debt sustainability level is much maintained, so that we'll be able to go ahead to get the bailout and also free us and give us more room for more loans.
We have details of these and many others coming your way, all in a moment. Please stay. Grateful you could stay on. I am Pious Kojo Backah. Straight to our very first story. Following the directive from the Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority, the implementation of the revised electronic transfer levy rate of 1% by telecom operators and financial services will commence from tomorrow, Wednesday. In a statement copied to Joy Business, the Telecommunications Chamber described or indicated that this has become necessary to reflect the rate as approved by Parliament in the 2023 budget and economic policy of the government.
As captured in Electronic Transfer Levy Amended Act, which has been passed by Parliament and assented to by the President, the levy on electronic transfers has been reduced from 1.5% to 1%, whilst the 100 Ghana cedi threshold remains unchanged. Members of the Ghana Chamber of Telecommunications expected to begin the implementation include Airtel Mobile Commerce Ghana Limited, GCB G-Money, Mobile Money Limited, Vodafone Mobile Financial Services Limited, and ZPay Ghana Limited. In a statement, the Chamber assured the general public that its members are working with the Ghana Revenue Authority and other key institutions to ensure seamless implementation of the revised levy from Wednesday, January 11, 2023. The levy was introduced in the 2022 budget as additional revenue mobilization to support government's quest to undertake some critical projects and improve the quality of service for the telecommunications industry. The levy, however, performed poorly in the first year of introduction as it failed to meet the target of more than 4 billion cedis.
All right, so let's stay a while longer on this as we are joined by country coordinator of CATS International, Kusi Dumako, for more. Grateful you could join us, Mr. Dumako, for your time. Now, do you foresee a seamless implementation of the revised levy from tomorrow, January 11?
To your viewers on Joy News, I think the new rate will not call for any implementation of a software or a hardware. What it will require will be an adjustment of the percentage that needs to be charged. So we don't expect any substantial challenges towards the new rate implementation.
All right.
And
so,
I think
go ahead, please.
By midnight tonight, all charging entities should have been able to reconfigure the new statutory rate 1.5 1%. I think that has been one of the biggest problems that we have in the past.
The sole aim of this initiative is to shore up revenue. Are you hopeful that government will achieve its revised revenue target of 611 million cedis?
I think there is a body of evidence that suggests that high tax rate doesn't correspond to increase in revenue. The higher the rate, the more people try to find a way around it to avoid or evade taxes. Now that government has Parliament has brought the rate from 1.5 to 1.0, what it means is that those who in the past, because of the 1.5, avoided sending money and having to go and withdraw the money and deposit into a bank account or send a check, they will factor in the reduced rates, and then that will be a compelling reason for people who were not sending money because of the 1.5 to do so now. And also, because the rate was high, a lot of people found a way around it. They rather go to a mobile agent, deposit the money to the mobile agent, and then the other person into the other person's account. But I think with this rate, I'm not sure people will go around. So it's going to increase compliance and also result in increased revenue for the state. And even moving away from the telcos, the financial sector is also part. The banking sector is also part of this. People who were also paying 1.5 now would also be able to enjoy some relief and to also stimulate the appetite for people to spend, to use the electronic means of transfer. So for me, and ideally, I am fundamentally against, E-levy, but the fact is that the law is what it is, not what it ought to be. Now that Parliament has passed the law and the President has also assented to it, we need to accept it as it is. But if you were to ask me, I think one of the key recommendations that I would want to make is that if Parliament can decide to bring it down to 0.5 and then take away all exemptions, in that way we can make more revenue from the electronic transfers.
All right, so before we go, I just want to find out this from you. Is this initiative going to show up our revenue targets?
Yes. When you look at the projection that came in 2021, government was very hopeful in making around 5-6 billion Ghana cedis annually from the E-levy. Of course, that particular projection has some fundamental, flaw in that projection, 500 billion Ghana cedis. Now, with the reduced rate, I am very convinced and sure, and it's also backed by evidence, that whenever you reduce tax rate, people who were in the past were avoiding it or not using the platform would consider using it, and that in that way would bring in more revenue to the state.
Great. Thank you very much, Kusi Adumaku, for your time here on Business Live. He is the country coordinator of CATS International, speaking to us there. Now, some banks have expressed unhappiness with government modification of the debt exchange program and its timeline, saying it is affecting the operations. According to Managing Director of FBN Bank Ghana, Victor Yawasante, the decisions have had implications on their businesses. However, pointed out that the bank has met stakeholders and the government on the way forward. Speaking to Joy Business, Mr. Asante said his outfit is putting in place measures to communicate any development to its customers.
We've been engaging all players, which will be the government. The government is the one who's basically rolling it out. And whatever they do, they have implications for us and therefore our regulators as well. So there's been a lot of engagement since the announcement was made. Indeed, yesterday was the last major engagement between the banks and central government on some of the things we need, because we believe government has pretty much wrapped up on what it wants to change. There's been a lot of back and forth from the bankers' perspective, which is fed into some of the changes that came through. So that has also happened. So we wait to see. It's 16th, so we have a few days to go. So wait to see. We are now going to bake in all the changes and so on and see how it pans out. Well, if they give it to us, we'll be very happy. We can't pay and therefore we're in trouble. So if there will be cancellation, it's also always one of the conversations that go on when people are distressed, whether some of it can be forgiven. So if we can get that forgiveness, all the better. But for now, what we know is what's on the table is for the debt exchange, which basically means that you term out or you try to we are in default, as it were. We are in default, and we just having an agreement, orderly agreement, to try and pay back what we owe over a period of time through a negotiation. So that's what is on the table. If we get some freebies here and there, thank God for it, and hopefully to mean that it will be less painful.
While longer on the economy, and the International Monetary Fund is encouraging the private sector international creditors to join the G20 members in cancelling Ghana's debts. The proposal is captured in the fund's documents covering the framework for the deal. My colleague George Yafe has the rest of the story.
IMF in the document maintained that this move will go a long way to make the debts of Ghana and other countries that are working to sign up to the deal more sustainable. This is because just the debts of the G20 members might not be enough going forward to deal with Ghana's situation. It is not clear for now whether these international private creditors will indeed heed to the request coming from the IMF, and also what will be the implications for Ghana's attempts to return to the international capital markets in the next 3 years. The document showed that Chad, Ethiopia, Zambia are the only countries that have had their requests accepted and are currently in negotiations with these creditors on the form and the structure of the deal. However, Ghana is yet to enter into the negotiation phase on this debt cancellation. The document also showed that countries that have requested for the debt cancellation have already taken some steps to embark on some debt exchange deal with their domestic creditors, as well as interest payment freeze for their international creditors. Joy Business understands that Ghana's IMF deal could be fast-tracked with a board approval if it's able to secure some commitment from these creditors that it may move soon to cancel the country's debts. Sources close to the Paris Club have told Joy Business that they have agreed in principle to hold discussions with Ghana on the possible debt cancellation. However, there are still some uncertainties about the conditions that would come along should there be a debt cancellation by these international creditors for Ghana.
Meanwhile, Ghana's international creditors have given assurance they will fast-track discussions on the country's request for a debt cancellation. This is what Joy Business has picked up from persons working with the Paris Club of Creditors. Here's more in this report.
Joy Business understands that it was this commitment that has seen government press ahead with talks with these developed countries on the debt cancellation. Sources say the Paris Club have agreed in principle to engage Ghana on the possible debt cancellation. The discussion is being done through the G20 debt framework championed by the IMF. We also understand that the request was made by government because it was one of the ingredients that could fast-track the process when it comes to the IMF board approval for the country's economic program in the first quarter of this year. This will convince the IMF that going forward, a lot more is being done by government to ensure that it brings its debt to sustainable levels. Sources say, looking at the way the discussions are progressing, it is likely that the country could have its debts cancelled. However, it is not clear for now their stated condition. This is because this is the first time that the country has got its debt cancelled. It got a similar relief when it signed up to the HIPIC initiative for poor countries in the year 2000. We also understand that this debt cancellation deal is different from other measures the government is already undertaking when it comes to its domestic debt exchange program, as well as its debt freeze for its external creditors.
In a related development, a financial analyst says it is a step in the right direction, calls to Ghana's international creditors to fast-track discussions on the country's debt cancellation amid the IMF engagements. According to senior finance lecturer at the University of Cape Coast, Seram Kawo, the move will ensure that the country's debts reach more sustainable levels. He spoke earlier on the marketplace.
This debt cancellation debate is a good way to go. It's a way to ensure that our debt sustainability level is much higher so that we will be able to get the release from IMF on the loan agreement we want to raise with them on the $3 billion. And one of the issues that came up with the debt exchange program in the domestic market, and we've heard a lot about the individual debt holders calling for a class action, and they are meeting government on it. We have the labor unions talking about the pension funds. We have the financial sector players, the banks, and some other insurance companies also talking about withdrawing from this debt exchange program. That is going to give us a lot of issues when we want to go ahead with the IMF negotiations. And so calling on the bilateral debt holders to cancel the debt is a strategy to ensure that our debt sustainability level is much maintained so that we'll be able to go ahead to get the bailout and also free us and give us more room for more loans from the bilateral market.
A reminder, you're still watching Business Life with me, Pious Kojo Backah. Still to come ahead. In austerity, stay by plan. We'll hear from a financial analyst on how to manage your finances this year in an austere economy.
In this year, as we said from the beginning, we say Accra stay by plan. I would say in austerity stay by plan, so you can navigate this difficult.
Welcome back, and those were your commodities updates, setting the tone for some agri-related story. Now, Cocoa Board is forecasting about 750,000 tons of cocoa production this crop season. This is expected to be higher than the last season's production. There's more in this report.
Ghana achieved a historic feat of more than 1.14 million tons of cocoa production, about 45% increase in the 2020-2021 crop season. However, this fell significantly in the 2021-2022 crop season, though official figures are yet to be made available by Cocoa Board. But reports indicate that Ghana's graded and sealed cocoa arrivals stood at 350,000 tons by December 15 since the start of this crop season. This is up 76% from the 199,000 tons in the same period the previous year. The 2022-2023 crop season commenced in October last year. The producer price to be paid at all buying centers is 384 cedis per load of 30 kilograms for grade 1 and 2 cocoa beans or 800 cedis per bag of 64 kilograms. A ton of 16 bags is however going for 12,800 cedis.
Local textile manufacturers are worried that after several efforts by the government to boost the operations of Volta Star Company Limited, the company is still not able to produce and meet local demand. Volta Star Company is the only state-owned local processor of cotton for textile manufacturers established under the Ministry of Trade and Industry. Kweku Adai is Technical Training Manager at Textiles Ghana.
In terms of cotton, we do, let's say, grey baft, we have enough. Okay, we have enough to run for this year and some part of next year. So we're really fine on raw materials. Yeah.
How is the flow like? Is this local for you?
Yes, like I explained to you, now Volta Star is not at full capacity. So Volta Star is doing about 10 to 20% of what we need. The rest is coming from China or parts of Asia, Pakistan and then India. Yeah. So we still have to import. We're still importing. We are still intervening in Volta Star. We're doing two things for Volta Star. Now, we are giving them cotton to spin and weave for us, and then we're also supporting them in terms of raw material. And then we're also providing a ready market for them, that whatever they do, we buy off them. So these are three interventions. But like I said, if you compare their technology and what the Asians are doing in terms of air jet, and they're using the shuttle and the loom, they are streams apart. And for that one, what they're using, the cost per unit output is high. So it makes them a little bit difficult to compete with the Asians. So if there's some intervention to upgrade their technology, then they can be able to face up with the challenges or the competition from the Asians.
To some other stories, the demand for shea butter is on the increase in markets across the Ashanti regional capital, Kumasi, mainly driven by the Harmattan season. Traders, however, say they are unable to cash in on the high demand due to limited supply of the commodity. They point to unbridled foreign merchants who buy in bulk at prices the local traders cannot compete with. Lava Firm's Clinton Yabua explores the situation.
Ghana Meteorological Agency has predicted an intense dry conditions that may prevail until February. These dry weather conditions may be characterized by cloudless skies and hot days across most parts of the country. The conditions leave people with dry and cracked lips and skin and an intense paleness. In this Hamilton season, Shea Backah, referred to as Nkutu, is the traditional lotion and moisturizer in some Ghanaian homes, acknowledged as effective to contain the effects of the season. The high patronage of Shea Backah often attracts other traders to divert into dealing in the commodity. However, some traders are decrying the low supplies. Beatrice Kakari joined the business due to the high demand. She is worried her distributor sells to the highest bidders. Ajara tells Love News her prices have shot up to over 200% to meet up her capital. She reveals the foreign merchants buy raw and processed Shea Backah products, leaving finite leftovers to be processed for sale to local traders. Her shelf is empty, unlike previous seasons.
Chinese for na baba say you money na moto aba no mo sa tonkuto no bio pesa dey 25 cedi first no kura we kura ndu 2 cedi anka se obo sa hanyina ya manu nkuto se omo kwajo ba akukura omo nyankuto this o mai anya ba ku sa na boano no mo dey abele.
Serena Seidu laments the high prices are affecting her returns.
First, na nebo from a 1 cedi, miensa 2 cedis. First, today I am miensa 5 cedis. If we are a sano, yeah, trying to sano, and we are your kind say no.
Traders have appealed to the government to take bold measures to secure local Shea Backah business.
Say someone else easy we say China for ne ba mo bi nto a eno na so mo ye se ngeti me perform ma ke be bo an ke pe bre say e bi anya nipa mionu ana se me ensare we so be odisi ba bia e beto.
Shea Backah is an ivory-colored fat that softens and hydrates the skin and protects it from the damage from the environment. Reporting for Joy News, Clinton Yeboah.
Now, in austerity, stay by plan. That's advice from financial analysts on how to manage your finances this year. According to Associate Director of Accounting Advisory Services at KPMG, Ringdorf Arno, individuals and businesses have set goals for this year. But while that is important, one needs a strategy during these uncertain and difficult times to manage their finances and meet those goals. He was engaged by my colleague Darrell Kwao on the marketplace.
Basis. You, that individual, what is your aptitude for risk? And one needs to understand all of that to advise you and to say, okay, maybe put your money here, put your money there. I'm not going to say to market any entity. Of course. Yeah, but do your due diligence, all right? There are a lot of write-ups out there. If you you carefully go through online and the rest, wherever you want to place your money, you can get some credible information to help you to decide, you know, whether through the banks or other institutions that you can invest with.
Okay, and we usually hear people say it's during these times that it is best to invest. I want to touch on savings as well, because enjoying your financial plan, I'm sure people would like to set aside some money, save some money. What advice do you have when it comes to savings?
Yeah, so it is, we save for a rainy day, all right? And so in these times, you need to save. But even as you plan to save, because if you just save and just put your money there, or put it in a piggy bank in the house, or just leave it in an account that does not return anything for you, you are actually losing, because economic conditions are not staying the same. All right, so your real purchasing power will go down. Okay. All right, so by all means save, but don't allow the money to lie idle. Find something to put that money in. If you don't save, you can't invest. So it is a step for you to invest in, because that's what you take to go and invest.
We need to end the last words, 15 seconds. Anything you want to say?
So in this year, as we said from the beginning, we say Accra stay by plan. I would say in austerity stay by plan, so you can navigate this difficult time.
We certainly stay by plan. And that's it for Business Life for today. I am Pious Kojo Backah. Always a pleasure serving you. For more news, log on to myjoyonline.com/business. Let's connect same time tomorrow. Bye-bye.